Can I have some sentence structures for my child? This is a common question that we get asked by parents, and even students will ask, oh, how do I start my sentence? May I have some sentence starters? And what they're looking for is a scaffold, and they can be useful. They can be useful for students who are lacking confidence or who need that little bit of support. However, I'm going to be honest with you and say, I don't like them. And the reason for that is because it does not encourage a child to understand how and why to use them or when. And so what happens is in the exams, you'll see that they will have rote learned some of these sentence structures and they try to use them and they don't always use them effectively. In fact, it comes across as quite clunky and it doesn't go well. So what I always encourage parents and students is rather than thinking about, oh, how do I can I have some sentence structures just to rote learn? It's more about teaching your child how to start their sentence structures. How can they do that? How do they start their sentence? And by teaching them how to do that and how to structure it, that is beneficial to them. That is going to allow them to be independent and to be able to then do that in their exams and beyond. So this is a quick presentation on how to start your sentence. So first of all, you need to think about the keywords in the question plus your interpretation, which equals your topic sentence. So what I love about this is it's a nice formulaic way of learning it. So if you're quite logical, this is going to be really useful to you. And even if you're not, this is a nice, concise way of doing it. So to know how to start your sentence, think about the keywords in the question, your interpretation, and that will form your topic sentence. And then you need to think about keywords in the question, your interpretation, plus where you are at in your argument, which equals your topic sentence. And I'll show you some examples of this so that it's clearer. So this is an example. So how does Shakespeare present Romeo in the extract? So the keywords in the question plus your interpretation equals your topic sentence. So this is really the formula that you want to use in your introduction, okay? Because this is going to outline your argument, and it's really, we say topic sentence, but it's really like your thesis statement, your overall argument. But for clarity, we're gonna go for topic sentence here. So in this extract, Act 1, Scene 1, Shakespeare presents Romeo as a passionate young man as he declares his love for Rosalind to his cousin Benvolio. Because of the prologue, the audience know that Romeo will fall in love with Juliet. Therefore, Shakespeare might have done this to hint that Romeo is fickle and perhaps to mock the ideals of courtly love that were prevalent at the time. So you can see that here we've got keywords from the question, because keywords here are how Shakespeare present Romeo. So we can see here that we've got Shakespeare presents Romeo, and then we've got the interpretation. So we've got the keywords already. We've got keywords here, and let me just underline those for clarity. We've got Shakespeare presents Romeo, so it's very clear that they're answering. And then we have the interpretation. Okay, and then we have the interpretation, and that forms topic sentence. So it's very clear there. But what happens then if you've already done your introduction and you've done your first main body paragraph? Well, you still need to formulate a topic sentence, but you don't want to be repetitive with it, okay? So let's look at this. How is Macbeth presented? So we look at keywords in the question, your interpretation, plus where you are at in your argument and the topic sentence. So let's have a look here. So this question is all about how Macbeth is presented as, brave and courageous. So perhaps the best way in which Shakespeare presents Macbeth as bold and brave is by the captain referring to Macbeth as valor's minion. The idea that Macbeth is the personification of valor, and that he serves valor emphasizes the extremes to which he will go in combat to please his master. In doing this, it seems that on the surface, Macbeth is serving King Duncan, and his heroic feats are to do this king honor. Moreover, the captain uses vivid, visceral language to reinforce how bloody the conflict was by describing how Macbeth unseamed his foe from knave to the chops. This suggests that Macbeth actually sliced his adversary in half, displaying his fighting valour, fortitude, and resolve once more. The use of blood and gore may have particularly appealed to a Jacobean audience who are particularly fond of and accustomed to such displays, and so would have loved this illusion and praised Macbeth's military prowess. Having said this, there is also a strong hint at Macbeth's needless bloodlust. The fact that he unseamed the foe seems unnecessary glory. So you can see here again, we've got the use of keywords from the question, which is again Macbeth and presented. So we've got Shakespeare presents Macbeth. So you can see here that they've used the keywords in the question. Then they've got the interpretation, and this forms the topic sentence. Okay. So then we've got a clear link here as well with perhaps the best way. Okay, so you can see that they're building an argument. They've acknowledged where they are in with their argument. And then again here, having said this, Okay, having said this, they're acknowledging where they are with their argument, and that should have been in pink, shouldn't it? So here, so the orange is the keywords in the question, and the pink here is where they are at the argument. So having said this, there's also a strong hint that Macbeth needed this hint at Macbeth's needless bloodlust. And then they're going to go into detail and they will use keywords from the question to expand on that. So you can see that this formula really helps to allow your child to have that flexibility in their writing. And by doing that, it's going to allow them to have that level of sophistication. So if you look at any mark schemes, it's not just about writing an essay. It's not just about, you know, the interpretation. Is about how they put it all together, which is why sentence structures are very important. But as you can see, it's not about just rote learning them. It's about, does your child understand them? Does your child understand how to use it? And those formulas that I've shown you are a great way to, one, give your child that support that they need if they're lacking confidence. It also helps to give them a guide so that when they're on their own in exams or assignments or homework, they can actually create one themselves rather than having to rely on the teacher or yourself to do it. And then finally, it allows them to have that flexibility. So it's not rigid, the writing's not repetitive, and it allows them then to have that flexibility in terms of developing their ideas and developing their argument. So that way then they can score very high marks in the exam. I hope that helps. Bye for now.